Broadcasting from the ARN Racing Studios in Southern California, ARN Los Angeles. This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
Matt Kenseth is now working left to go. Jeff Johnson looks tail and low. Bush up high. Here they come.
Gentlemen, start your engine! In case you didn't hear, Carl Edwards upset the NASCAR world, quote-unquote, winning in Sonoma over the weekend. Plus, Brendan Gaughan gets his breakthrough NASCAR Nationwide Series win in Road America. Home Depot leaving NASCAR, ESPN canceling its NASCAR Now program. What does it mean for NASCAR coverage on the sports giant? Plus, silly season with Carl Edwards heading to Joe Gibbs Racing and Greg Biffle staying at Roush. This is the Pit Pass, your personal pass for everything NASCAR, starting right now.
Get ready.
Stay ready.
Wrap in. And hold on.
Stay ready.
We're getting the green, starting right now.
How we need to do it, boys. That was awesome. Yeah, we were either going to get them or we were going to wreck. Before time, I'm a little upset. Dude, I left the brutal. What the hell? This pisses me off so much. You have no idea.
That was a bull. So,
You never quit. This is how you're going to win a championship. You never quit.
therefore, we're going to keep scratching off that bucket list for you, buddy.
Stay in it. Wide open. Come on. Come on, baby. Woo-hoo! How about that, boys?
You're awesome.
This is the Pit Pass, your personal pass to everything NASCAR. Live from the Pit Pass Racing Studios in Southern California. Here's your host, Alan Bailey.
Wrecks, hurt feelings, drama, one driver, veteran not wrecking another one for the win. And oh, by the way, a very first-time winner, and it just so happens to be on a road course. Welcome on into the Pit Pass, your personal pass for everything NASCAR right here on ARN, the American Racing Network. I'm Alan Bailey. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at @TheAlanBailey. I also want to remind you that, yes, it is Monday, June 23rd, 2014. Pit Pass is on the air. Lots of interesting stuff to cover over the course of the next hour. Carl Edwards getting his second win of the 2014 season. And oh, by the way, that will, according to the critics, quote-unquote, lock him into the chase. I'll tell you why. I'm not so sure it'll lock him in. We'll break it on down for you. Plus, so yeah, we're going to have a silly season update with Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle on the move and confirming the rules. And what does Home Depot leaving Joe Gibbs Racing mean for silly season? We'll start there. Edwards winner over the weekend out in Sonoma. It was his first road course win, his second of the 2014 season, but that's kind of being overshadowed by this bombshell that was dropped on the NASCAR world earlier this morning. Home Depot, which has been a primary sponsor in NASCAR since 1999 on the 20 car, will leave the sport after his contract with Joe Gibbs Racing ends this season, according to a source familiar with Home Depot's plans. This is also according to the Sports Business Journal. Matt Kenseth drives the number 20 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and progressively over the course of the last two seasons, Home Depot has been scaling back their program and giving the sponsorship of Dollar General more time on that number 20 car in 2013 and in 2014. But ultimately, that was the story on Monday. But on Friday, the thing that everybody was talking about, and yes, ARN broke the news. Carl Edwards signing a contract, although it is not official, but Carl Edwards signing a contract to drive Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas for the future. It is unknown how long he will be driving and what his sponsor will be. Rumors over the weekend included Edwards driving an M&M's Camry with Kyle Busch, sponsored by Monster Energy. M&M's have since confirmed that Kyle Busch is their driver for the foreseeable future. So we are not sure where exactly Carl Edwards will end up at Joe Gibbs Racing with what sponsor, but we know he will be driving a Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing in 2015. Now, the announcement is not official. The announcement will be made official once Carl Edwards' current contract with Roush Fenway Racing says it can. According to numerous sources from inside the garage area, Edwards' current contract with Roush states that he can't talk about future plans until the month of September at the earliest. That is why Carl Edwards has been mum's the word all season so far. Are you looking to build a brand new website? Do me a favor, log on to apolloaesthetics.com. They will get you a quote to build that website, and not only will they get you that quote, but they'll also help you with email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They'll also set up your hosting. That's a biggie. Where is your website going to live, eat, and breathe? And oh, by the way, unlike those build your website for free, they're not going to charge you an arm and a leg with hidden fees, with monthly payments, and yes, assistance with that. Apollo Aesthetics is the only place to go. Log on to apolloaesthetics.com to request a quote to build that brand new website today. It's Apollo Aesthetics and apolloaesthetics.com. Well, the record still stands for those of you who were tweeting and emailing. 10 winners in the last 10 different races at Sonoma. For a decade now, we've seen different winners, including Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, Juan Pablo Montoya, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Clint Boyer, Martin Truex Jr., and now Carl Edwards, who won yesterday out in Sonoma. 10 winners in 10 races, 10 years. That is mind-boggling to me. It truly is, because you think of Sonoma, I think of Tony Stewart, I think of Jeff Gordon, I think of Juan Pablo Montoya, even though he's not racing. I think of those drivers because they're so dominant on the road courses. And the fact that Tony Stewart won his race in 2005, that was 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, that's mind-boggling to me. It truly is. You look at it, I vividly remember Kyle Busch winning, Casey Kane winning for Richard Petty Motorsports. I remember Jimmy Johnson winning. I remember Kurt Busch winning in that number 22 car. I remember Boyer winning. I was there. I remember Martin Truex Jr. last year, but it doesn't seem like it's been 10 years. It seems like it's been 5 since we've seen the likes of Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart in victory lane on these road courses. Jeff Gordon is the most winningest driver on NASCAR road courses, and yes, he has the most wins at Sonoma between the active drivers and the inactive drivers. So I think of these two drivers when it comes to winning on road courses. They have the two most wins in road courses in NASCAR. So the fact that it's been 10 years shows you, A, how competitive the sport has been, B, how far road courses have come in NASCAR. 10 years ago, I would even say 15 years ago, people would just show up with a car and go, it's road course, it's one race, man, big deal, Now there's a lot of effort that gets put into this. A.J. Allmendinger in the number 47 Chevy, Kingsford Chevy, they put a great amount of effort. They used one of their tests on the Sonoma Raceway, and they tested here. They came with the same car, with the same setup, unloaded fast. They were practicing and fine-tuning that thing, and they were fast all weekend and fast during the race, and it just never clicked. The pit strategy fell funny. It was a very, very, very strange Sonoma race. If you look at it on paper, you think, oh, it's just another NASCAR race. The cautions fell in the middle. It's not that big a deal. But for a road course, very strange. The beginning part of the race, we saw 1 caution. The middle part of the race, we saw 5. And then in that final stage of the race, the final 30 laps, give or take, we saw no cautions. It went caution-free. That's mind-boggling to me. It truly is. It shows you, A, how far our sport has come, and B, how weird and unpredictable these are. And ultimately, it's not about, it is about, on one hand, how fast your car is and how well you keep up with the adjustments on the racetrack, but it also comes down to pit strategy. If you can have the winningest car, you can have the fastest car, but if you don't have the fastest pit stops, and if you don't have efficiency in the pits, it doesn't mean anything. Carl Edwards had that over the weekend, and yeah, him and Bob Osborne pulled it off, and they ended up getting the win, and Carl Edwards ended up doing the backflip. So it goes to show you, it's just a matter of, well, I don't know, Carl Edwards, he might be able to pull off a championship this year. I think that'd be funny if he leaves the team that he started with and he ends with a championship. That'd be kind of interesting. Interesting story that we'll get into in a little bit. Other stuff that we're going to talk about over the course of the next hour. Obviously, we're talking about Carl Edwards' win, what it means for Edwards and for Roush Fenway. Are they turning that program around, or is this, like I said, just a product of quote-unquote dumb luck? We'll get into it. Plus, Home Depot leaving the sport, that's the rumor. It's unconfirmed at this point, but what does that mean for Matt Kenseth? What does it mean for Joe Gibbs Racing? And what does it mean for the contract that Carl Edwards supposedly signed this last week at Joe Gibbs Racing when they're trying to find funding for a 4th team, and they have half of their 3rd team right now underfunded. ESPN Cancels NASCAR Now. That one is coming from ESPN, and we'll tell you what an expert and what a spokesperson over at ESPN had to say in relation to that. We'll break that down. That's going to be a very interesting one. What does that mean for NASCAR coverage on ESPN? Are they already pulling the rug out? Are they already in autopilot, quote unquote, with calling the races for the last half of the season? You kind of get that sense with TNT right now. TNT very, very much is in autopilot, and they really are not, I don't want to say they're not putting an effort forward to completely cover these races adequately, but when you have Wally Dallenbach and Kyle Petty stepping all over Adam Alexander, and all three of them are in the booth, and you can clearly tell that there's a rift between all three of them, you really have to evaluate your situation, and you really need to shut people up because they keep talking over one another, giving out bad information or incorrect information or misdated information or late information in a not timely manner. We'll break down television coverage in NASCAR. Is it the problem with our ratings, or is it just a matter of people are no longer interested because Junior isn't winning every other weekend? He's got a couple of wins this season. We'll break it down if Junior is a cause for the ratings debacle or not, and the fact that he's doing good or not. Biffle supposedly signing a contract with Roush Fenway and supposedly working on a contract to re-sign with Roush Fenway. What does that mean for Edward, or what does that mean for Biffle? What does it mean for that organization, and where do the silly seasons chip fall? Plus, an update on Jeff Gordon's back injury. You remember he has been dealing with back spasms since Charlotte, and everything. You got to think, is Gordon going to have to go through the same things that Denny Hamlin went through after having a good year? Is it kind of the fork into his season, or is it one of those things where you have to kind of look at it and say, well, this could work. And oh, by the way, Brendan Gaughan picking up the win in the Nationwide Series race out at Road America over the weekend. Dude, I texted him right afterwards, and I still haven't heard from him because, frankly, I don't expect to. I'm imagining that his phone might have actually blown up as soon as he crossed the start-finish line, but nevertheless, it was Brendan's first win in the Nationwide Series, his first win in quite some time, actually, in NASCAR competition. He is a Truck Series winner, multiple Truck Series winner, so you got to think Brendan Gaughan, it's pretty cool, and considering the fact that it came on a road course, which Brendan has not had success on, not to this extent before, you got to kind of have to stand up and say, hey, that's pretty darn cool right there. Also, congratulations quickly here to the Bushers, James and wife Chris Bush, delivered their baby actually on the 18th. Presley Mercedes Busher was delivered at about 10:30 p.m. at 5 pounds, 13 ounces, and 17 inches long. We are proud and happy to report that both mama and baby are doing well this week and over the weekend. So congratulations to the Bushers. Welcome in another member into the NASCAR Nation. Congratulations, guys. Now, want to go ahead and step aside for our very first break here. When we get back, we'll give you the top 5 from this last weekend as NASCAR went road racing in 2 completely different states, 2 completely different road courses, but 2 very elated drivers in victory lane after it was all said and done. Don't go anywhere. This is the Pit Pass, your personal pass for everything NASCAR.
This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
Okay, so let's say that you're trying to build a website for free on one of these website builders. You go ahead and spend hours uploading your personal information and all of the photos that you've taken of your products, only to find out that you can't bring a .com onto that website without paying a huge fee. And you can't remove those ads without paying a huge fee. And you can't remove all of those pesky "this website was built for free" buttons without paying a huge fee. By the time you've paid all these fees, you've paid thousands of dollars in order to remove all of these pesky ads. Why go through all the hassle? Why spend all of those hours doing it yourself? Go ahead and log on to apolloaesthetics.com, not only to request a quote to build your brand new website and to see a rendering of what your website could look like, but in order to set up services like email, hosting, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts, and a whole lot more. That is Apollo Aesthetics and apolloaesthetics.com.
The odds of having a boy who grows up loving baseball,
1 in 6.
which earns him a college scholarship,
1 in 2,500.
that gets him a contract in the minors,
1 in 3,700.
which leads to starting shortstop in the majors.
1 in 290,000.
The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism,
1 in 150. You know the odds. Now learn the signs. Go to autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Shifting gears.
Okay, no, seriously, think about it. Who's going to dethrone Ryan Villopoto in 2015? I don't think it's going to be James Stewart. He knows what he's doing. I really don't think it's going to be Chad Reed. I got to say Ken Roczen. He had an incredible rookie season. He's having an impressive motocross season so far in 2014. I think by the time the gate drops in Anaheim in January, we're going to look at a different rider with Roczen.
Shifting gears. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on ARN.
And now it's time. It is the weekend's top 5 from the road courses at Road Atlanta. And, oh yeah, Northern California. We take you back up to Sonoma for this weekend Series 5 with number 5.
Now and Boyer goes around. Oh, and he gets clobbered by Zach Harvick. Nowhere to go. Contact in 11.
Number 4.
Yeah, there's 22 cars.
He wasn't going to make it anyway.
Already up stop.
Yep, he wasn't going to finish.
And forward, I'm trying to get you some help here.
Wow, what a turn of events.
Number 3.
Got one off, and that is Matt Kenseth. Hard hit as he came down. Wow. Caution is out for the 4th time today.
Number 2.
We are in the final lap at Road America. 4 miles around, 14 turns. What happens? Here's Chase Elliott inside of Brendan Gaughan, looking toward turn 1. Checkered flag is out. It's here. Brendan Gaughan has won a NASCAR Nationwide Series race.
And number 1.
Going to be no overtime today in Sonoma. The leaders working their way off of turn 4 for the final time this afternoon. Gordon driving it in hard. Edwards locks it down, maintains the top spot, and drives off of turn 11 clean. He's won 22 times in his career, but never on a road course. That's going to change today. Carl Edwards, a winner at Sonoma.
Live from the Pit Pass Racing Studios in Southern California, once again, Alan Bailey.
The thing that I loved about this weekend and about everything that happened over the course of this last weekend, hands down, Brendan Gaughan and his reaction on the radio as he came across the start-finish line at Road America. So darn cool. You could hear it in his voice, the joy, the excitement, the just the happiness. That's what racing is all about, my friends. If you're not having fun, what the hell is the point and what the hell are we doing? Welcome on back. This is the Pit Pass, your personal pass for everything NASCAR, right here on ARN. I am Alan Bailey. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Alan Bailey. Also use the hashtag ARNRace to get in on this conversation. Alan, do you think that now, since Brendan Gaughan won that race, that he'll continue to win races, possibly contend for this championship? That one coming to us on through the emails, actually. Honestly, he's got a pretty darn good shot. I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, he's a sure-in for sure. He's gonna win it all. Ooh. No, because he's 7th right now in the point standings, 106 markers back. I think that Regan Smith, Elliott Sadler, Chase Elliott, Ty Dillon, those are the guys that realistically, I think at least at this point, are the ones who are going to contend. Ty Dillon's a bit of an outsider right now. The 3 drivers that are realistically contending for this championship are Regan Smith, Elliott Sadler, and Chase Elliott. They're within 11 markers of each other. And frankly, Ty Dillon, who's 4th, you can look at Brian Scott on down. I mean, any of those drivers can hop up on in, but you look at Brian Scott, he's 5th, he's 58 markers back. Trevor Bayne is 63. Brendan Gaughan, who I'm a huge fan of, he's a good guy, very, very, very cool guy to hang out with. 106 markers back. Chris Buescher, 128. Same with James Buescher. Landon Castle is 10th, 148 back. Realistically, it's those top 3, Regan Smith, Elliott Sadler, Chase Elliott, that are going to contend for this championship. I can sit here and I can just blow smoke up your rear ends all day and say, oh no, there's still a chance. Oh no, anybody can happen. Ah, da, 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 da. No, unless something tragic happens to Regan Smith, Elliott Sadler, and Chase Elliott, and I'm talking about DNFs every week for 3 weeks, 4 weeks straight. Those guys are in command right now. Brian Scott has been having a good run this season, and he's had a few good runs. Same with Ty Dillon, but ultimately Chase Elliott has a couple of wins. Regan Smith is looking very strong. Elliott Sadler looking very strong as well this season. Those 3 drivers are the ones that are going to seriously contend for this championship, and it'll come down to Homestead. I truly think that. It's not going to be well, we went into Texas and we knew we were going to lock it up there, and at Phoenix and Homestead, we just cruised. We just had fun because we had it locked up. No, it's going to come down to the last lap in Homestead, just like it is probably in the Truck Series and in the Cup Series as well. So, I don't know. I think this will open the door to that race team. I think it definitely boosts their confidence when they go back to another road course. They're going to have that pep in their step. When they go to Kentucky this weekend, they're going to have a pep in their step. By the way, triple header weekend in Kentucky. Trucks on Thursday. Friday, you have the Nationwide Series, and then on Saturday night, you have the Cup Series. So a bit of an interesting week, and I do want to remind you, programming alert, we'll have a different broadcast date right here on ARN. You can actually listen to the Shifting Gears on Thursday night leading into the Truck Series coverage. The reason being, something's going on Wednesday. Can't talk about it, but basically Shifting Gears on Thursday is where I was going with that one. So trust me, an extra day away, which means an extra day of coverage for you. Trust me, it'll be very cool leading you up into that truck race. Now, I want to play this. Carl Edwards talking about his win over the weekend out in Sonoma. What does this do to his program? What does this do to them? And ultimately, does this open the floodgate for Carl Edwards to go out there and actually work on these cars, or is it just a matter of fluke? But to Carl Edwards, it was definitely beating the best in Sonoma, which is going to be memorable the most to him.
My road racing progression, it's been a pretty long climb from when Jack let Boris come to VIR, the 2-seater, and basically we ran off in the dirt a bunch all day, and Boris taught me, all of the basics of road racing. To be able to come here and to win this race 10 years later is really special. So a lot of hard work's gone into this, and to be locked into the chase is huge. Now we can focus really hard on our program for the final 10 races. And then the real special part to me was to stand in victory lane at Sonoma and have Jeff Gordon come and give me a handshake as a second place finisher means a lot. I grew up watching Jeff Gordon and specifically watching how he drove this racetrack and all the successes he had here, and so that's really super. It's something I'll never forget.
Carl Edwards right there, and he brings up a few good points there, and that's the thing that I want to get into right here. Edwards and Roush are off. They're missing something. Roush, Fenway, and it seems like Ford as a whole, except for Penske, they're really missing something. They can't complete these races. And I'll even lump Penske Racing with Keselowski and Logano into this one. You look at them as a whole this season, Penske Racing starts out really good, and then about halfway through the race, or 3/4 of the way through the race, they get behind on their setups and their adjustments during the race, or a pit strategy doesn't fall their way, or bad luck happens, and they honestly can't keep up with the racetrack. That is a communication thing. That is a making sure that the car keeps going. That's a crew chief driver relationship thing that needs working on at Penske, I believe. But you look at it, Penske in the first half of the year so far, they've brought a lot of good race cars to the racetrack, but in the last month or so here, they really haven't been on the radar at all. They've brought good cars, but not the great ones that they had earlier. So Penske's lost a little pep in their step. Edwards and Roush Fenway never had pep in their step. They went into Bristol, admittingly, and they had a good run, and they ended up winning the race with Carl Edwards. Yes, but you look at it, a lot of stuff had to fall their way, and a lot of stuff did fall their way, and they really were not the best car all day long out at Bristol. The fact that it kept raining was a contributing factor. I really think that. And the fact that the race ended under caution, even though Edwards was leading, that's definitely something that you kind of have to mark into the checkbox and go, yeah, Edwards had a good race, and frankly, and I'm not taking away from Edwards' ability to drive a race car. The guy has worked, like he said right there, very hard. They trained with Boris said 10 years ago now. It seems like it was yesterday. And they worked on getting Edwards and Biffle and everybody who was at the stable 10 years ago up to speed on road racing. And that's when everything started changing with road racing. That's when the progress, and that's when all the emphasis went into making sure that you have a good car and that your driver's just as good for these races in Sonoma and in Watkins Glen. So with that in mind, Edwards has taken 10 years essentially to get into victory lane, which I don't want to say is a surprise because some guys work hard and never get into victory lane at a road course. That's not uncommon. But the thing that kind of baffles me a little bit, Edwards did not have the winning car this weekend. Very much like Bristol. He didn't have the winning car. He didn't have a dominating setup. He didn't have the winning moment. He ultimately just was putt-putting along in the top 5, hanging out, having a good race, admittingly, and I'll contribute that to driver, not so much crew. And his team continued to just not gain spots, but certainly not lose spots either. Just kind of putt-putted along, really just kept their head above water, which is what they needed to do. Edwards ultimately, on the restart, pulled away there and got the win. He held everybody off, including Jeff Gordon, who was hard charging. So hard that he overdrove a corner, admittingly. If Gordon didn't outrun that corner, he probably would have passed him. If Gordon had another half lap, probably would have passed him. There's a lot of contributing factors that tell you this wasn't exactly a dominating win by Carl Edwards, nor was it a late race surge. It was more like I'm in the right place at the right time, and I'm capitalizing on it, just like Bristol. By no means does this mean that Edwards and everybody at Roush Fenway Racing have their program together. If anything, it gives Edwards, his team, the 99 team, breathing room. So they can go out there and try the quote-unquote experimental setups, unquote, on these race cars and try things and really push the limit with everything from engines to shocks to everything on that race car in order to make things better at Roush. You look at Biffle, he's not locked in. You look at Stenhouse, he's not locked in. He's definitely not locked in. Those drivers trying to get back into the chase, trying to get into the chase. I have hope for Biffle. I don't think Stenhouse is going to do it. Stenhouse, I don't know if it's his crew. I don't know if it's the relationship with his crew chief. I don't know if it's the fact that they're building a notebook together. I don't know. I'm not involved in that shop. I'm not involved in that race team, so I can't tell you what the problem is. But from the outside looking in, he looks like a rookie that hasn't reached his potential or that was promoted into the Cup Series too quick. I know that's not the case because the guy has a couple of Nationwide Series titles and a bunch of wins in Nationwide to his credit. It might be a case of he was kept in Nationwide too long and he still hasn't figured out these Cup cars. They're still struggling, very much so. He's not a rookie anymore, but he has rookie tendencies, and that kind of lingers for a few seasons. Until he's in season 4 or 5 of his career in the Cup Series, he's still, in my mind, going to be considered a rookie. And ultimately, Edwards getting the second win, more or less locking himself into the chase, is exactly what Roush Fenway needs. They need to really try things and experiment with Edwards' cars now in order to make up what they've lost all season and in order to figure out what the heck's going on with our race cars. Carl Edwards continued on in the media center after his win. Take a listen.
Every year is different. You come out here and there are always people who figure something out. And there's so much time between these races. It leaves a lot of room for innovation and improvement. So you never really know what to expect. But after practice on Friday, I got out of the car to walk to the hauler, and I told Richie, the car chief, I said, I think we're going to win this thing. You know, the car was driving pretty well, and we seemed to have pretty good lap times. But halfway through the race, I did not think we were going to win it. We were not doing well. I was driving my heart out, and I wasn't going anywhere. But Jimmy made the right adjustments. He made the right call to get us out front. And then he reminded me to leave nothing out there and to drive as hard as I could, and that was what I needed.
Sometimes you need a kick in the butt. Edwards needed a little bit of that over the weekend. He got that from his crew chief, Jimmy Fenning, and that's one of the jobs that a crew chief has with their driver. You have to kick him in the ass every now and then and get him to get up on that steering wheel and find that extra energy, that extra something in order to go out there and win a race. And that's definitely what happened. I think about halfway through the race, right there towards the end, Edwards found something, and I don't mean they made a big adjustment on the car, because they really were making tiny adjustments all day, not really taking big swings at it, which to their credit is a good thing. Happy driver, happy car, happy life. But at the same time, he really wasn't the dominating car, especially there at the end. Gordon was coming on so damn strong, and honestly, it was one of those things where you were kind of staring at it going, where's he going to get him? Where's he going to get him? Where's he going to get him? He overdrove turn 4 dramatically, which is that right-hander where you almost hit the wall coming off the turn head on. It's a very tricky, very dangerous, very fast corner. Gordon just plain out overdrove that one, outbroke it, and just didn't brake enough, and just overdrove it. That lost so much momentum, and honestly, I think if he hadn't have done that, I think we'd be talking about Jeff Gordon winning his second race of 2014 instead of Carl Edwards. And honestly, kudos to Jeff for not getting into the back of him, but at the same time, I don't know. Here's what Jeff Gordon had to say following the race.
Maybe 5 laps to go or 6 laps to go. I was making some ground up on Carl. I was really good in the fast sections. He was pretty good in the slower sections. So I was just having to hit everything so perfect, and I just overdrove it into 4 one time and went real wide off, and that gave him enough of a gap that I had to close it back in, and I just couldn't put enough pressure on him. I think had I put some more pressure on him, I saw him really struggling with the grip level, but he drove a clean race, and he did everything he needed to do. And of course, that last lap, I gave it my best effort and closed up on him, but I just drove into 11 as hard as I could. We were good into 11 anyway, and he didn't overdrive it, so I was hoping he might slide up and I get a run underneath him. But all in all, great weekend for this Panasonic Toughbook Chevy, and couldn't be more proud of the calls Alan made and everything the team did. We didn't qualify good, but we had a great car in the race. Steve.
There you go. That's what Jeff Gordon had to say following the race. And yeah, it was one of those things where it was good, but it wasn't great. They had a decent qualifying run. They qualified 15th or so, I believe, and really it was one of those things where they just didn't have the car. They didn't have the car at the beginning of the race because they were stuck back in traffic. I think if Jeff Gordon qualified better, we would be talking about something completely different here. Another driver that had, honestly, a really, 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 really good run for him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Came home with a solid top 5 finish. Yeah, he got into Matt Kenseth, and yeah, it blew up on social media. Junior wrecking old friend Kenseth? Ooh. No. He overdrove. He screwed up. He admitted it. On the radio, he admitted he screwed up and got into Kenseth, and yeah, basically knocked the engine out of that car. Almost. And oh, by the way, a fan did walk away with the entire nose section of Kenseth's car. That's just baller. How awesome is that? Like, honey, you went to the track. How was your weekend? Pretty good. Came home with Kenseth's nose. What? That's pretty awesome. Like, if you go to the racetrack and you come home with the entire nose of your favorite driver's car that he drove in that race, I don't think there is a better souvenir. I don't know. I did see a couple of guys walk away with 2 tires once from an NHRA race. That was pretty brawler as well. Like, if you're taking the tires right off the cars, right out of the pits, first off, you might be getting arrested. Just maybe. But the fact that you actually walked away with them and that you were hanging out in the garage area checking out everybody else while holding the stolen goods of the race car, it's pretty awesome. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. was talking about his run, and more specifically talking about Steve Letarte and the adjustments they made all day long.
I told him every crew secret to being a great crew chief is to call every year like it's your last, because he's had the best strategy every week. Kelly Blue Book Chevy was fast all weekend really, and I tried to screw it up there a couple times in the race, but calmed down and was able to get a good finish out of it. Got into Matt. I jumped that curb and just jumped in the air and just ran into him. Told him my fault. Kind of what happened with him last year at Watkins Glen. It just racing a little too hard through there with him, and probably should have let him have the spot. But Other than that, we had a pretty good day. We'll cut the shell off of this thing, put it in the woods, and go to Watkins Glen.
And that's the thing right there. You got to ask, what does he mean cut the shell off and put it in the woods? Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a car graveyard. I'm not exaggerating. You know how you think of the term redneck and you think of cars, in the yard with, forest and grass and stuff growing through the windshield and stuff? Dale Earnhardt Jr. has that with race cars, stock cars. He has multiple stock cars that have crashed, whether it's Montoya's Daytona 500 car, the one that he actually hit the jet dryer in and exploded, his car that he hit the wall very hard and bursted into flames, the one that Keselowski rode the fence in Fontana with a few years ago, about 30 other cars that he has. He's got tons of stock cars in his yard. I'm not exaggerating here. The guy owns a lot of property. He's very wealthy. And what does he do? He fills the woods with race cars. It's his personal graveyard of race cars. He bought an F1 car that was wrecked. I don't remember whose it is for the life of me. And he threw it in a tree. How rich are you where you're just buying race cars in order to put them in your woods behind your house for decoration, for fun? My gosh, are you that bored with your money, Dale? Dale, give me your money. Trust me, I can invest it wisely. I can make you more money. And then you can continue to buy cars to put in the woods behind your house. And, I don't know, maybe I'll buy you a car that's capable of winning more races. You've got 2 this year, pal. You need to pick up the pace a little bit, okay? I understand that you've literally doubled your quota for the last decade in wins, but Junior, come on, man. Got to get your stuff together. Can't be buying race cars and throwing them in your backyard, okay? Little redneck of you. You're rich, okay? No, you're from North Carolina. I'm not cranking on people who are from North Carolina, but just because the stereotype is to have a car in your yard, that doesn't mean you have to one-up the stereotype of redneck and throw a $500,000 race car in your yard, let alone multiple race cars in your yard. But that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. Instead of hanging these cars and putting them in a warehouse like, say, John Force does. John Force, by the way, here in Southern California, in Yorba Linda, where his race shop is, he's got quite a few really cool shells of old dragsters in there. If you ever get a chance to get a tour down there, do it. Very cool. I've gone down there a few times, and I had lunch down there actually about a year ago for Brittany's announcement thing that they did about a year ago. That was pretty awesome. That was really awesome. That's basically a man cave on steroids. And, John Force, you're thinking John Force. Yeah, John Force, the guy who talks like this. I'm John Force, gotta tell you. This old high rod is pretty darn fast out here. I love these guys. They're busting down on this old Mustang high rod. These guys on the Castro, they know what to do. And we're gonna go out there. We're gonna take this old high rod, wheel her down the racetrack. We're gonna get a good time, get our cars in the final. I'll tell you what, I'm 70-something years old. I'm having time of my life, man. I'm John Force. My brain hurts. My throat hurts from that John Force impersonation. I don't know how the man does it. I really don't. Now, we're very late for a commercial break. I'm going to step aside here, take our break. The Furious 5 coming up here. When we get back, we will talk silly season, and we're going to talk about this whole Home Depot, Carl Edwards to Joe Gibbs Racing, Greg Biffle to RCR, Mambo Jumbo. Break it all down and tell you exactly what it means and where all these sponsors are going to end up come season's end. Don't go anywhere. This is the Pit Pass, your personal pass for everything NASCAR right here on ARN.
This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of people are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if I'm speaking a foreign language to you right now, don't worry. A lot of people have trouble with it, but you should not be one of them. If you're looking to get your business online, and if you're looking to build a stronger web presence online in order to build more customers and to sell more product, log on to apolloaesthetics.com. Not only will they help build a brand new custom website for you, but they'll help set you up with Instagram, Facebook and Twitter accounts in order to build your customer base and get your product out there for people to see. Everyone's online and everyone has a smartphone. Does that free custom website that you can build really work on an iPod or an iPad? Well, Apollo Aesthetics build websites that not only are capable of working, but work with all kinds of smartphones and mobile devices. Log on to apolloaesthetics.com not only to see all the services that they offer, but to request a quote to get your business online today. It's apolloaesthetics.com.
Army Specialist Andrew Pike became paralyzed while serving in Iraq.
My injury was a gunshot wound to the left abdomen from a sniper. My first contact with paralyzed veterans was in Walter Reed.
Paralyzed veterans National Service Officer Michael Killen.
We try to reassure them what benefits are out there, try to educate them and take some of that stress away from them.
Right now I'm going back to school to earn a degree, and I'm just spending time with my wife and child.
You can help our paralyzed veterans. Visit pva.org.
The Furious Five!
Yeah, the Furious Five.
Furious Five, huh?
Furious Five.
And now it's time to head back up to Northern California in wine country for this weekend's Furious 5. We start with number 5.
How much spotter? You got a copy? Oh, you got the one up on the hill. You mean just remember you're going to have Earl as the main spotter. Michael Landis will be spotting from atop of the drag strip. Spotters, make sure you do left and right, not inside, outside, please. Simple.
Number 4.
Feel like kind of a right rear going down. Don't have to fit now strategy-wise, but we can if we need to. Definitely getting worse here. Rear drive going. Yeah, I'm starting to lose the rear drive, but I can manage it with the throttle. Careful with the track bar there. Okay, simple.
Number 3.
Big wreck behind you, full course caution. That knocked the motor out of the 20 car. Yeah, he's trying to drive it, but it just like it fell off block. My bad. I don't know what the f I was doing there. I took that curve and ran into them.
Number 2.
So they're getting a little aggressive out there now. He had a flat right rear. Yeah, something wasn't right. I ain't too sure I didn't have a flat. I don't give a shit. He never let out the gas at all.
Number 1.
Heavy right from smoke here. Just get your rhythm back. I made one mistake in that last run that tossed it. That's the checker right there. Nice job. Thank you guys. Let's get some pictures.
That's your Furious 5 from Sonoma. Log on to ARN Race for the complete Furious 5 video.
The Furious Five!
Yeah, the Furious Five.
Furious Five, huh?
Furious Five.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hammond alongside NASCAR driver David Reagan.
When it comes to tire safety, nothing is more important than your tire's air pressure.
Just like a pit stop, checking your air pressure takes just a few moments.
And those few moments will not only keep you and your family safe on the road, it can also help save you money.
Properly inflated tires can improve gas mileage, which will save you money at the pump.
So be tire smart and make sure your tires are properly inflated.
Learn more at betiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
It doesn't matter what it is, if it's got a motor and at least 2 wheels, we're covering it on ARN. From AMA Supercross and Motocross to IndyCar to NASCAR, NHRA drag racing and off-road action, we've got it all right here on the American Racing Network, your motorsports authority. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ARN Race and visit arnrace.com for your 24/7 motorsports fix. ARN, the Motorsports Authority.
Beautiful day for a race. It's great to be out here on the West Coast doing a little road racing.
The engines have fired and we are ready to do battle. We are free in Northern California.
We've heard so much this week. Tire management.
I got no rear grip. We're just getting cluttered out here. The tires are gone. I'm in trouble.
There will be some road rage before it's all said and done.
I don't have enough room. Well, I got drilled by Stewart. This is a joke back here. Completely annihilated. It is getting really, really, really old.
Matt Kenseth, hard hit as he came down.
That knocked the motor out of the 20 car. My bad. I took that curve and ran into them.
Now Boyer goes around.
Like 47, like 47. Oh, I didn't do it.
Senator Cloud of California signs. Carl Edwards wins the Toyota St. Mark 350. Oh, yeah!
Live from the Pit Pass Racing Studios in Southern California, once again, Alan Bailey.
So the topic that we're going to get to in a little bit here is, should a road course race be added to the chase? NASCAR is retooling the chase for the 2015 season. They've admitted that, saying that they're going to give a whole new complex look and rearrange the races to better suit the format that they currently have with the 3, the 3, the 3, the final race. Should a road course be in there? That's the topic that we're going to discuss during our next segment. Send your comments right now to me at the Alan Bailey on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also use the hashtag ARNRace or NASCAR in order to get in on this discussion as well. But right now, I want to talk silly season, and I love this segment, and I absolutely hate it at the same time. But where is everybody ending up in the 2015 season? Well, we reported it on ARN and ARNrace.com on Friday that reports surfaced and were confirmed from multiple sources from within Joe Gibbs Racing that Carl Edwards had signed a multi-year deal to drive a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. At the time, other media outlets were reporting that Edwards would be the new Candyman with, M&M's and Mars as his primary sponsor on this new Joe Gibbs Racing car, with sponsorship of Monster moving up from the Nationwide to sponsor Kyle Busch full-time in the Cup Series in 2014. Now, we've heard rumors that Monster does want to sponsor Kyle for some Cup races. That has been confirmed, but Joe Gibbs Racing and M&M's have come forward, sources from within have come forward since these rumors over the weekend, saying M&M's is sticking with Kyle Busch, that is for sure. However, we're hearing that they might scale down some of the races that they have in the 2015 season and beyond, and that might make room for Monster Energy to jump into that sponsorship role, either for Carl Edwards on a full-time basis or a part-time basis, or at least a few races for Kyle Busch. Now, the other rumor that we heard over the weekend, Biffle confirming that he is renewing with Roush Fenway Racing and that he's currently working on a contract, but saying, quote, "It's far from signed," unquote, over the weekend. They're still working out the kinks and the final details of their contract and their Biffle's extension with Roush Fenway Racing, but it was also confirmed over the weekend that yes, Biffle and sponsor 3M had conversations with Michael Waltrip Racing if conversations at Roush didn't pan out. Those conversations obviously over since Biffle is looking to stay at Roush Fenway Racing. The other big news that dropped this morning actually is the fact that Home Depot is leaving NASCAR, more or less. They're dropping their sponsorship of Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 20 car once the contract is over at the end of the 2014 season. That means that for roughly half of the season in 2015, Matt Kenseth at this moment does not have a sponsor. Dollar General picked up the tab for half of the races starting in 2013 and in 2014, but we knew that this was a 2-year deal for Home Depot. Whether Dollar General actually does step it up or if the Monster sponsorship moves over to Matt Kenseth is unknown at this point, but for half of the races right now in 2015, Matt Kenseth has no sponsor. Joe Gibbs Racing currently looking for a sponsorship for half of the races for Matt Kenseth in the Cup Series in 2015. That's your silly season update brought to you by our friends at Apollo Aesthetics. Log on to apolloaesthetics.com right now to request a quote to build a brand new website right now. And they can also help set up email, website hostings, file hosting, file sharing, audio file sharing, picture sharing, and oh, by the way, your Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts for your company, as well as your photoshopping needs for your website and for your social media accounts as well. Log on to apolloaesthetics.com in order to request a quote to build your site today. It's apolloaesthetics.com. You know what they can also do? I didn't even know this. They actually build a store so you can sell your products online. I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty darn cool, actually, because those free website builders can't do that, and I've been bitten by them, trust me. I was gimmicked into, build your own website for free! Doesn't really work out too well. You gotta bypass that at some point, and I did. I called Apollo. Trust me. It will help you a lot. Trust me. So we're going to go ahead and step aside here. When we get back on the other side, the topic of should road course races actually be added to the chase. That's a discussion that has been brought up before. NASCAR is renewing or retooling the series schedule for the 2015 season, so that's a very distinct possibility, and yeah, it's something that's definitely on my mind. So don't go anywhere, as right now we will take a look back at the weekend that was for Carl Edwards in this weekend's Winter Rewind from Sonoma.
It's nothing but sunshine here in Sonoma, California, as we get ready for the first Sprint Cup Series road race in 2014.
Strategy today is going to be a moving target.
Jimmy Fennick, crew chief of the 99, told me today I haven't given up on a two-stop strategy yet. I'll wait to see how the tires look after that first pit stop.
Okay, it's going to be a fun one. This is fun today. Be real smart.
We are green in Northern California.
It's real tight. Feels like literally like they've just got no front tire on it. It's like my front need a little air out of them. That's what we were thinking. About 5 more laps, Carl. 5 more.
Wasn't perfect, but we were running up front. We were going to just adjust on our first pit stop, but the yellow come out and hurt us on that one, so we didn't get that adjustment in soon enough.
A full course caution for Landon Castle, who went up in smoke.
Blew that thing up good.
Chassis adjustment to the right rear of the 99. He's taking 4 tires and fuel. A little slow on the left rear.
No, we're good. I mean, we're going to stay with our plan here, and we'll just get hustling some more here and see what we can get here.
Jimmy made some adjustments. We stuck to our two-stop plan, which was really tough in the middle of the race to stay out when other people had tires.
Working our second caution flag of the day, Ryan Truex got off course.
Should we pit now? That ain't going to help us. We're going to stay out there and just stay with our game plan here so we got clean air when we get our good tires.
I mean, they just ate me up. I was 3 wide, getting the doors beat in.
Just hold on what you can for about 5 laps.
We just stuck to our guns. We faded fast, and then we sit there at lap 70. We came in, put gas in the car and 4 tires on it, and went out. And as soon as we left the pit road, yellow come out. So finally, it worked in our favor.
Debris in turn 10 has brought out the 3rd yellow flag of the day.
Jimmy played it perfectly. I mean, he stopped as early as we could to be on pit road, have the caution come out. It worked perfectly.
Green flag goes back in the air. 31 laps to go here at Sonoma.
Here comes Marcus Ambrose, the 9 car out in front with the 99 of Carl Edwards jumping to 2nd. Boyer back to 3rd.
Here's the man now. Take him apart. Take him to school.
Boyer gets turned around by Jamie McMurray. He collects Kevin Harvick in the process. Everybody trying to squeeze through.
The caution flag is back out. Carl Edwards getting after it on the restart.
Green flag was out. He didn't go.
Carl was really nervous that he thought he jumped the start, but Marcus didn't go in the areas where he's supposed to go.
By the time we got to the single red line, he hadn't gone. The green flag was waving. It's like, man, I got to go. And so I went, and I beat him to the start-finish line. I was really glad that NASCAR understood what had happened there. I've had some bad experiences on some restarts.
Nice, smooth. You're doing an excellent job. Nobody better out there. Stay focused.
Here comes Gordon, but McMurray blocks. Jeff will not be denied. McMurray cannot hold him off. 2nd is now Jeff Gordon. He'll try to chase down Carl Edwards.
When you got somebody like Jeff Gordon coming after you that hard, that strong, it was nervous, but I was hoping Jeff would wear his stuff out coming to us.
I thought he was going to be better than he was with about 10 to go. He made some mistakes then, I guess, and it allowed me to keep a pretty big lead.
Opening it up again. Make him overdrive his stuff. You're doing great.
And then my tires were giving up. I was having a hard time repeating my lap and not making mistakes. I made a couple of really big errors.
Heavy, ready for a smoke here. Just get your rhythm back.
He was closing. So then I went into defense mode in turn 11 because I thought if he really boils this thing in here and plows me, I mean, it's going to be ugly. So I faded to the right a little bit. Stop got real slow in the center corner, ready for the hit, and he never got to me, fortunately. It was not pretty, but it worked.
He's won 22 times in his career, but never on a road course. That's going to change today. Carl Edwards, a winner in Sonoma.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Good work, man. Good work. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's get some pictures. Let's get a flip.
This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
Do you have the next big idea or the next product to sell online? Don't know where to begin? Well, it's very simple. ApolloAesthetics.com. They'll not only help build your website for you, for your company, but they'll also help get you involved on social media and help get ads placed on Google. What you do is log on to ApolloAesthetics.com where you can request a quote to build your brand new website right now. They'll help set up email and hosting for you as well. That's Apollo Aesthetics and ApolloAesthetics.com.
The odds of having a boy who grows up loving baseball,
1 in 6.
which earns him a college scholarship,
1 in 2,500.
that gets him a contract in the minors,
1 in 3,700.
which leads to starting shortstop in the majors.
1 in 290,000.
The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism,
1 in 150. You know the odds. Now learn the signs. Go to autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Live from the Pit Pass Racing Studios in Southern California. Once again, Alan Bailey.
The topic of discussion now as we switch from talking about the road course race, Carl Edwards' win over the weekend out in Sonoma, to with NASCAR retooling the chase in 2000 and the schedule in 2015, should they add a road course into the chase? The overwhelming percentage of you are saying yes, you want to see a road course in the chase. And I agree with you 100% actually, which is odd. I don't think we've ever agreed on anything 100%. But with that said, we do here. The reason being is the chase essentially is the entire season reduced down into a short time frame in order to basically compete with the ratings with football. I understand that. If you don't understand that, or if you don't believe that, you're an idiot. I'm sorry for your idiocracy. However, NASCAR's response to their ratings going down in the early 2000s was the chase, because, hint hint, football season starts up the exact same week as our chase starts. Do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think that just so happens to coincide with that date in particularly? And if you're going to have a schedule, a set postseason that is representative of the competition and of the best that our sport has to offer, you need short tracks, you need intermediates, you need a super speedway, and you need a road course. Right now, we have no road course. We have one super speedway, which is fine, in my opinion. We have a couple of short tracks, but we have a lot of intermediates. The reason we have a lot of intermediates, NASCAR owns most of those racetracks. Sorry to say, NASCAR owns a corporation that owns a majority of the intermediate races that just so happen to be in the chase. Do you think that's a coincidence? No. I agree that there needs to be a race in the chase that is a road course. However, when you look at the schedule, Sonoma actually has a pretty good date right now. I like Sonoma at the beginning of the summer. I think it's actually pretty perfect. But you look at Watkins Glen, it's upstate New York. There's no way in heck we're going to be able to get up to that racetrack in the winter time, which is, well, in the fall time, I should say, which is when bad weather starts to set in for that area. There's no way. You'll have to go to another road course, which is something that NASCAR won't do because they have so much money and so much energy invested in the current facilities that they have, and so many people that want to be included in another race date and get a race date or a second race date, that it's not going to happen. That's the sad, simple truth, frankly. So at this point, it's a question of if they get a date, where will it go? I have no idea. Honestly, I don't think we're actually going to see a road course this coming year. Mike Helton actually sat down with Fox Sports and actually said, no, not right now. We're not adding we're not doing that. Sorry, guys. So I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, to say the least, because I really think that NASCAR is capable of doing that, of actually just saying, yeah, we'll add a road course into the chase, but they're not going to do it. It's low on the list, according to Mike Helton, and he's coming up with a bunch of excuses as to why he can't do it. We'll get into it on Shifting Gears, which, by the way, Shifting Gears special day, special time. You can catch it this Thursday, at 4 p.m. Pacific, that's 7 p.m. 3 p.m. Pacific, that's 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on ARN. For everybody here at the Pit Pass and the American Racing Network, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see ya at the track.